Hey everybody, good morning and welcome to Reaper Toolbox Pro Tips, that thing that we do every morning. So today is different. It's an AMA day, which is why I'm wearing my I have no idea what I'm doing shirt. Yes. This is my favorite class shirt too. Always show up in this one on the first day of instruction. So yes, ask me anything. It's true, Astley. You've done your pun damage. Very good, very good. Excellent. So yeah, let me deactivate my pro tips intro because I'm going to be going back and forth probably between face cam and mini or paper cam. And good morning everyone. Today I got up an hour before my normal because a fire alarm went off. It was not thrilling, but I'm glad it wasn't at 5:30. Let's look on the bright side. This is what I did not miss about living in an apartment complex. Makes me want to go out and move into a house like ASAP. Nope, no luck, Francis. No luck, especially. I'm doing very well financially, and I don't want to queer that deal right now, so I'm not giving out my secret financial passwords. Sorry. Yeah. David is in the other room, actually. He is watching our AMA, Margaret. I'm glad you're here, Margaret. Margaret, you were not here yesterday, and I did pinning. Like, one of your AMA questions, I actually did pinning yesterday on the turtle. So you should go back and watch yesterday's stream for the beginning of it, because that was your pinning question from the AMA. It just required... I knew it would take up like 30 or 40 minutes if I did it on the AMA, so I decided to do it yesterday instead. Good morning, Undercrat. And Moon Glooms. Well, Moonglooms, we're going to be answering questions throughout, and so, if you do think of it, that's great. I do have a huge long list of questions to get through from the Discord, so thank you everybody who put a question in the Discord. Well, just go back and watch the VOD. Margaret, you're fine. I can't do that sort of question, then take up 30 minutes of the AMA with one question, so yeah, I did it yesterday. So now you know. In case that wasn't obvious, yes. That guy Steven, I was kind of sideways invited to do Reaper Errant, but I didn't really want to like give up my time in the evening with David, so I kind of declined. So I haven't been in Reaper Errant. So I think it's the usual rogues gallery of Reaperites who we always at artist conferences. There's a bunch of people who play D&D together, and so you're pretty much getting to see that. It's just they've taken it public. And inappropriate, probably, given I know who's in that game. Hello. Yeah, please feel free to post questions on Discord, obviously. And I'm going to try to stick to the Discord questions. If we get a chat question I can answer quickly, then I will do so. But otherwise, I don't want to derail the people who actually asked in the Discord chat. So if you have not known this before, An AMA is the channel to drop your questions in. There are a couple that actually were answered by people in there too. You probably want to hold off doing that, although one of them, actually, I didn't know the answer, and somebody answered it, so I'm happy about that. So we'll get to that. All right, and my allergies are just going crazy today. All right, Sethany, we're going to start, actually, we're going to start with a question that I forgot from last time, which is Real Chibi. So, Real Chibi, you actually asked what the hardest detail to paint was last time, and I didn't get to it. So, for me, I think, and everyone will agree, the hardest detail to paint, hands down, is going to be eyeballs. Everything else, you don't have to be nearly as precise with, but in order to get eyes to look right, you do have to get them very precisely aligned. Everybody's had those eyeballs that kind of look that way, or that way, or that way. So the hardest detail to paint is still eyes. And that's true no matter whether you're working on a tiny little model or a big bust. I just agonized over Dark Elf guy's eyes for he's a big bust, but he has one eye, he's kind of doing this, so the one eye is bulgy and the other eye is squinty, and it's just so hard. So I think I repainted these like 4 or 5 times to get them right. So yes, eyes. Because tiny little stuff... Oh, did people just start doing freeze right away?
Yeah, I already had it set up. So actually I was going to say, Anne, we talked about yesterday, we could, since we're giving away 3 sets of these.
Yep.
If we want to give away one now at the beginning, and then middle, and then end.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking. So guys, we know that people tend to, when they see a giveaway in the title, like I almost was going to say, Justin, don't even put giveaway in the title of the stream. Because then otherwise you get those people who just never watch the stream, but they just come in and hit hashtag free, and then when they win, you feel bad. So what we're going to do is we're going to give away 3 sets of the purple things. So it's purple, a bunch of purple paints, like I think 5 or 6 colors. And then it's 3 purple miniatures. So it's the awesome portal, the one that Andy Pieper sculpted with the 2 Fu Lions holding it open. And then the purple tentacles, and then the purple Shadow Hound. So I decided that since I love purple and it's my favorite color, we would do a purple giveaway. And next giveaway, whenever it happens, I'll switch it up and do something different. But this is what this giveaway is. I actually am going to get a Kleenex because, boy, I mean it, allergies.
And in this case, we want you guys to be present to win. So if you do enter, I would stick around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we really do want present to win. We don't want to get the random people who just jump in, hashtag free, and then never watch anything or participate. So we're trying to do that. All right. I'm going to keep my Kleenex close at hand because, oh my gosh, sneezy.
No, Margaret, actually, as we draw it, we'll just give the person a few minutes to claim it as is. So if you see them type in chat, we're good.
Yeah. So yeah, when we do this giveaways, if you win, type in chat to let us know you got it. Asteriskwe, a mini bust of my puppy? That sounds awesome. I do not have a mini bust of Kiri, sadly. I do have a German Shepherd bust, but it's not the same. So I would have to sculpt a Kiri bust for that to happen. You're here till the curry is done. Okay, so the giveaway, Hydro-Man, is purple stuff. So the big purple portal, the mystical portal with the 2 Fu Dog or Fu Lions holding it up, the purple translucent tentacles spell effect, and the purple Shadow Hound, and then 6 different purples. Like there's clear purple and monarch purple, and there's just a whole bunch of purple paint. So yay! So good. So it's all that. And we'll give away 3 sets. So do you want to give away one right away, Justin? Because we see how many people do we have in watching us?
Currently we have 114.
Oh, dang. Well, yeah, we've got a lot then.
Really, yeah, we advertised it last night on Reaper Live. So
okay. Awesome. Yes. Well, that's cool. All right, cool. Well, let's do that. Before I do the next question, let's go ahead and do that giveaway then.
Alrighty.
You can always use 2 portals.
Real quick, get your hashtag freeze in.
Yep, get your hashtag freeze in. We're going to do one. And if you win, please speak up in chat so we know you're here. We want to make sure to reward people who are actually watching the stream. Yay, we have hashtag freeze.
Or just listening to it. You don't have to be like visually, watching.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you can use this as a podcast. The AMA is definitely, although I will be doing some examples later.
Yes, it is worldwide, Tiddly.
Yep. We will ship it out to you no matter where you are, even if you're in Antarctica. Planer Spoons, you've changed your name, Planer. I approve of it. Alrighty. I think we've got everybody got their hashtag free in. And don't worry, if you missed this one, we're going to do another one halfway through, and we're going to do another one at the end. 93 total. There we go.
All right, I have our winner.
Who is our winner?
Our winner, and you guys have a few minutes to claim here, is, and if you are in chat, just say hello, say something, add us when you're chatting, whatever it is, just get our attention. But our winner is nuinkoad.
Nuinkoad? All right, speak up, New. Just put a hi in chat. Tell us you're here. Yay! There you are. We got a yay. So,
awesome, there it is.
So then you want to drop an email to, what is it these days, Justin? What's our giveaways? Our giveaways may have changed.
It's giveaways at reapermini.com.
Giveaways, plural, at reapermini.com. Give us your screen name exactly as it appears on screen here with Twitch. And obviously you'll need to give us an address and an email. So that we can contact you, and also so we can ship it to you. So that, and make sure to do that, when you have a moment today, that would be great. The sooner we get the information, the sooner Justin can queue it all up and somebody can start working on it. So awesome. So we'll do another one in a little while. Let's go. So I didn't quite remember at the end of the previous AMA where I'd stopped, so I may overlap one of these, and it's Sethany's question. I figured this was a good one anyway because it always gets asked, but it's my current glaze and wash recipes. So for washes, currently, it's 1 drop of paint, 4 drops of brush-on sealer or matte medium or whatever you're using, but I use brush-on sealer, Reaper brush-on sealer as a matte medium, and then 2 drops of water. So 1, 4, 2. And I swapped that. It used to be 133, but I find that I like the additional translucency of the additional sealer lately. Now, this is not a foolproof recipe. It is almost foolproof, but you will want to tune it. There are some paints that are more transparent. There are some paints that are just thicker. Paint is, all of our colors are going to act a little bit different because all pigments have different chemical properties. So what you should do is use that formulation, then kind of test it on the base or on something that you've got nearby that you don't really care about. Make sure that it's the proper degree of lightness or darkness and translucency that you're looking for, then apply. If you want it more translucent, you add more sealer. If you want it more watery, you add more water. If you want it darker, add more paint. And that's about it. Let's see here. Okay, well, there we go, Sethany. We answered it again. And glazes start at 1 to 2, paint to water. Around there. I mean, you could go 1 to 1 with some really, really transparent colors. But mostly you're looking for more water there. And that I cannot give you a straight up recipe for. Every color is different depending on the amount of white and its opacity. So you got double answers, Sethany. There you go. All right, cool. Let's see here. Let's see. And then I think you also, you asked if there's a list of the secret and not so secret Clear Brights. The answer is, if you're on my Patreon, there is one. It's in a Clear Brights PDF that I put out last year. Some of them have been canceled, so they're no longer, available, like Umber Brown. But many of them are, if they're not out right now, they'll be coming back, like the Oxide colors that are coming out in Kickstarter 5. Those are the Earthen Clears. So that's red oxide, brown oxide, and yellow oxide. First recipe was washes, Numbat. If you want to build a wash out of any MSP paint, you could do 1 drop of paint, 4 drops of sealer, 2 drops of water. All right, great. Well, welcome, Gallowfire. Welcome to our community. Welcome to Reaper stuff. We have lots of stuff. It's kind of our selling point. Lots of paint, lots of minis. I'm glad you're enjoying it, and I'm glad you're hanging out with us this morning. Welcome. We are a friendly crew. All right, so let's see here. Rathmore's just trolling me here with his question of TP colors for the TP Mocking Beast. How are we going to paint toilet paper? Very carefully. So I don't have a TP Mocking Beast, but what I would probably use would be not just a gray. I mean, you could use a gray. You could also use something like, what might be good is like, something like creamy ivory and then bleached linen and then linen white. Like that might be probably what I would go with because it's white enough, so to speak. Umber Brown was part of HD Achilles Blade, and HD was canceled because of lack of sales, and Umber Brown was one of the colors with lack of sales, so it was not brought back. I don't know if any other websites carry our paint sets, Saji. Or Sage. It's possible. I mean, some of them, but I mean, our paint sets do take up a lot of room, so I'm not certain where else you would look. You actually do want to buy paint sets from us, that said, because the paint is going to be fresher. With other companies, the paint sets may not move as fast, so the paint that you're getting will be older, and you don't know how long it's been sitting on the shelf. Whereas Reaper flips our paint sets pretty fast. I speak from experience, so you can be relatively sure that the paint you're getting is the freshest possible paint. And that has not been sitting on a shelf for 3 years. Alrighty. Yeah, David and I were talking about this yesterday, and if you have a TP Mimic, it is not going to depict itself as soiled TP unless it is a very bad Mimic, because obviously, if you want somebody to reach for the TP, it has to be pristine and fluffy and soft-looking and clean. Therefore, you want to paint your TP extremely, fluffy and soft. Another color I might actually use Vampiric Mist. Like Misty Gray, Vampiric Mist, and Pure White would be great if you want not creamy colors for your TP. If you're looking for more of a gray but you want it to be interesting, Vampiric Mist is kind of a purplish gray off-white. It's really an interesting color. It's one of the Dungeon Dwellers colors. So you could use that and then highlight it with Pure White and shade it with Misty Gray. That would be good toilet paper colors too. Let's see here. Francis, who can say why anything is low sales? You know? It's, it could be a combination of anything. It's very difficult to say in the hobby what sells and what doesn't. That's one of the things that Ed will say if you ask him. He's like, the one thing he's given up on doing is trying to figure out what sells and how and why. Because he's guessed in the past and been totally wrong, and sometimes he guesses that he's dead on, and you can't predict the clientele. So a lot of HDs are popular enough to be brought back into Bones. Now they're sitting on the tail end of Bones. Some were in paint sets, some were just popular in general. So you get a bunch of them back, but a bunch of them not back. I don't have any experience with Reaper paints, Gimli. I didn't build the whole thing from the ground up or anything. Crowley, the reason I say 3 years about shelf life, about stuff sitting around, is not because it's going to expire in 3 years, but that when a paint sits without shaking for 3 years, the resins can start to settle out. So if your paint hasn't moved and it's just sitting in a box, I recommend shaking your paints once every year, at the absolute most once every 2 years. Once those resins start to settle out, they start to form a plug on the bottom of your paint. And over the years, that will get more and more unable to go back into solution. MSP takes a very long time, but if you want your paint to stay the best it can be, shake it frequently. So that's the reason I recommend getting the freshest paint if you're getting a paint set, because that way you know that you're getting the freshest paint, and you don't have to worry that maybe one of your colors might be kind of partially compromised or starting. You just don't know how long that paint's been sitting around. It could have been at Reaper for 2 years, at that other game store for 3 to 4 years. You know, that's 6 years. If it's been 6 years with not moving, if you shake your paints, they'll stay good for more than a decade. I know for sure, because I have paints, back at Reaper, I had paints that from the original MSP batches that were still good, and that was 15 years ago. So, let's see here. Yeah, that is the nature of the umber pigment, Jalugger. The umber pigment is just extremely transparent, and it's a beautiful color for glazing, though, and for washing. One second. I have to slow down on the questions, babies. Come on, hold on, one moment. Let me see here. So yeah, your Reaper MSP can stay good up to 15 years, but if you don't shake it, then you may see it turn into a resin plug after 7 or 8. So, you know. Wet sponge and Clingfield. Oh, yeah. That actually, the wet sponge is Rhonda. Bird with a brush. Wren on here, I think. But yeah, those are good. I'm just trying to keep up. It's so hard to keep up. Just shake your box. Well, if you have a really tight-fitting box, you could do that. But yeah, you could shake them. I mean... yeah, I mean, you should kind of like cycle through them, and you know, you can just shake 5 a day, whatever works. Gray mail, chances are, okay, so pots, the reason we don't do pots anymore, other than that, are the company that used to make the Pro Paint pots canceled their production of that particular pot. But pots have a very large area for air to get into the pot around. Because they have that wide mouth, that seam is a source for air leaking in. And unlike a dropper bottle, which has a much smaller seam and a double seam, right? We've got a double, because you've got the nipple and the cap. So that's why dropper bottles stay good. The paint in them stays good much longer, is because there's less air going into there. And so paint pots evaporate a lot faster. There's a trick where you can turn your paint pot upside down and keep it good for much longer. And that's what I've done with a couple of colors that I have from other companies that are in pots that I want to definitely stay good. So let me see here. Let's see here. So yeah, chances are your old Pro paints, if you have not shaken them, are dead. But you could try. All right, cool. Next. Oh, and also David said, don't forget the perforations on your TP Mocking Beast. There's at least one set of perforations. You want him to look as realistic as possible. All right. Oh, this is a fun one from Margaret. Organic NMM. Is there even a way to pull it off? Is it impossible? It is not impossible, but it is very hard, Margaret. You have to, for one thing, before you try, and by organic NMM, I assume you're saying something like Rocky. I got my Rockies yesterday, guys. I have Rockies to paint now. We're going to paint at least one on stream. I like Pouncy Rocky. He's my fave. But anyway, so painting Rocky like a gold dragon, for example, or a silver dragon, or a copper, any of the NMMs, right? Can you do it? Heck yeah, you can do it. Hey, Major Ursa, most of the questions I'm answering today are from the Reaper Discord. There's an AMA channel, and so I have to prioritize those because people actually cared and put their questions in. Tips for NMM is a great one to put in there though, and be specific. Like ask about like what are you having trouble with NMM? Like tell me what your trouble is, and then I can give a very specific answer, because otherwise I can't like take an hour to explain NMM, but I can totally, if you're having trouble with your highlighting placement, or you're having trouble because it looks like stone instead of metal, then I could totally help you with that. So definitely go over there into the Reaper Discord. Somebody linked the Discord in chat, right? Yep, yeah, we got it. Dark Abacus Spot just linked it. Go over there and put that question in AMA so I can get to it next time. Because every 60 subs, we're going to do one of these big AMA sessions, and we're going to hit all those Discord questions, and we're going to do giveaways also, because it's fun. It's a party. We're having a Friday party. It's awesome. So yes. And NMM can really suck up time, because often I will want to paint an example on stream, and so it will take time. So hold on. Let me see here. Let me make sure that I've got it all. Yeah, that's cat butt Rocky or dog butt Rocky, Paleo Pep. Let's see here. Yeah, join the Discord, Major Ursa. It is a good Discord. It is really, we have a great friendly community. So yeah, definitely do it. Yeah, go put that over there, NMM. Yeah, your NMM question, real chibi. Yes, I have that problem with M&Ms also. We don't buy them anymore, especially the dark chocolate ones, beef in the hole. Let's see here. I'm just like trying to catch up. Wow, you guys have been so talky today. Everybody is having a party. Holding brush easier. So all right, Hydromane, that's an interesting one. I'll pop that one in because it's a health question. A lot of people have problems. So the first thing to ask yourself is why you're having problems holding the brush. Is it that you feel like you have to hold it harder and it hurts your hand, or are you shaking? Nerve damage can cause all of these things. So the best thing to do is to make sure that you're very consistent. Make sure you hold your brush really lightly. You don't really need to clamp down on it. A lot of people do clamp down on it, and it actually affects them negatively, because if you're holding your brush too firmly, it can cause shaking, because you're tensing your muscles, right? So try to practice painting just repetitive. Pick something repetitive. What I usually do is say lining. Like get like Rocky, somebody cute you don't mind spending a lot of time with, like this middle Mr. Rocky, and practice like just shading between his scales. Like hold your brush really lightly, put him in a comfortable position for you, and practice just painting shadows between those scales. And that way you can get in the habit of holding your brush really lightly, not clamping down on it. And also you can practice bracing your hands so that you shake less. The other thing to make sure is that you're in a natural position. You want your body to be relaxed, so maybe you need to get a reclining chair. That might help, because any way you can relax everything is going to minimize pain and shaking. So those are some tips, and I hope that helps. Let's see here. Quick question. Better or unique, it depends on your usability. There are UK6AM or 6SM, UK6SM. Like some of our best, most unique paints are probably the clear brights, but if you don't mix colors or you're not used to pure pigment paints, then that may not give you anything at all. What I usually recommend for people is if you pick up the starter set from Reaper, it's about 11 colors, and I chose them personally as high utility colors. That gives you a good selection. I also always recommend picking up our pure white and pure black. I don't remember if they're in the starter set. They might be though, because our pure white and pure black are our two most popular paints, and people say that they really are excellent compared to other brands. So the other thing to remember about MSP is that we are not like any other paint brand you have ever used. I made these paints not the thick and goopy formula. A lot of paints out there are using vinyl bases for high coverage. you don't really need coverage unless you're doing wet blending or base coating. Everything else we do is with thinned paints. So what I did is I created a paint that was more fluid out the gate. So you have to do less to it to help to get it to the point where you can use it. So you're going to find our paints are more fluid. They're not going to have the like super coverage right out the gate you're used to. But everything else, glazing, blending, layering, washes, everything else will be easier. So the other thing about them is that they stay in solution. If you throw a lot of water at them, they don't go to pieces. They actually like hold up. So, and that's because I use layering, so I need a paint that I can thin down to do my blending with, and also find details and textures. So, very different beast. Keep that in mind when you're trying them. Let's see here. We're just gonna go through all sort. Now that I'm in California, how do we acquire Drown Nipple Pink? You beg Sadie to make it a thing and put it out as a sample during ReaperCon. That's my idea. Sadie, if you're watching, I've just thrown you under the bus. Alrighty, let's see here. Keep going. I'm getting down. So many. In style. Miniature Monday kits. Yeah, if you watch his show, that'll help. I like my starter set a lot. I mean, I tried to choose a representative group of paints that were very different, gave you lots of options for that. But yeah, the Miniature Monday kits could be good too, especially if you're painting what he's painting. Well, Alpha, we can agree to disagree. We're not having any, home Discord here. But you know what I mean, right? Is like most of the time when you're using thick paint, you want high coverage for that reason. And a lot of the other applications that you use, you're using at least slightly thinned paint. So, thus, Master Series. All right. But that was my thinking anyway when I created Master Series. Sadie has become bus fodder. All right, cool. I'm caught up. That means I can go back to an actual question. So we were talking about organic NMM. So, all right, for those who don't know, NMM is non-metallic metal. It is using shades of gray to paint silver instead of using metallic paint, or shades of yellow, brown, and white to paint gold instead of metallic paint. And you can do NMM for any metal under the sun and any that aren't also. It is just simply a way to highlight and shade something that creates an illusion that it is shiny. You can do it on anything. It doesn't matter. Organic NMM would just be like painting a little dragon gold instead of painting a shield gold, but it's the same principles. What you've done, though, when you're trying to create a living being that looks like it's metal, is you've made everything much harder for yourself. Usually when we're dealing with metal surfaces, they are flat and angular, and so there is a definite way to go about it, whereas on an organic model, you really have to know your NMM really well, Margaret, to get it down. And that involves all the things that I normally talk about with NMM, such as you have to know where your light source is coming from, you have to know where your light source is going to be reflecting back, and where it's going to reflect out to the eye of the viewer, where your highlight goes, where your shadow under that will go, where your under reflection will come from light bouncing back up from the environment. So it is not for the faint of heart to do something like this in NMM. What I would recommend for you is to become very good at regular NMM and then start branching out into weird surfaces. And then you'll get ready for a lot of cursing. But when you pull it off, everyone will be super impressed. Maybe I'll do an example at some point. We'll see. Let's see here. What do we got? Just kind of going down, making sure that we got, oh, we've lost our marbles a long time ago, no Mad Zeke. NMM scares the crap out of you, Iggy? No, NMM should not scare the crap out of you. Basic NMM isn't that difficult. And the nice thing about NMM is that you can get the gist. You can get a model that looks shiny even without necessarily being able to blend really well. If you can blend, then it's going to look better, usually. But I mean, you can always try to just depict a rough metallic surface, and then you don't have to have great blending to carry off NMM. It's just all about highlight and shadow placement. You've got to nail those for it to look right. So Dasso, put that in our, what I'm doing right now is I'm mostly handling questions from the Discord. So the Reaper Discord, we've thrown a bunch of links in. Thanks. Planer is always going to pop the Discord. So that Rust question of yours, put it over in the Discord. There's a channel called An AMA, and that's where I drag these questions from, and we do an AMA pretty much every month or so. When we hit 60 subs, we do an AMA and a giveaway. We have a party. We're having a party today. Justin, are we about halfway through? Do we want to do another giveaway?
I was gonna say probably let's do another 15 minutes.
Another 15 minutes? Okay. Justin is in the middle of stuff. Alrighty. Let me just look at my little thing here. All right, I'm not behind it. I'm not ignoring anybody. Okay, this is a great question from Malvernus, actually. How UV resistant is MSP? That's a fantastic question, and it's a perfect question because I'm the only one who would know. Perfect question for me. That's an and question if I ever heard one. And somebody asked you, Malvernus, when you posted that question, if you meant paint bottles sitting on a windowsill or actual paint on the Mini, and you said both. So one thing you first should know, and it has nothing to do with UV, but the labels that Reaper currently uses are heat reactive, which means if you leave your paint on a windowsill in the sunlight or on your desk in the sunlight, the heat alone will make your label bleach out and it'll lose its type. So don't do that. If you can keep, if you want to keep your label looking nice, don't leave it in the sunshine. We found that out the hard way when I think we were doing a Kickstarter fulfillment and we accidentally left a bunch of paint like lying out in the parking lot, and it was summer. So all the bottles bleached out. We had to redo it. I don't remember which Kickstarter that was. That was a long time ago. But so don't do that. Now, as far as actual UV goes, let me see. Just make sure I'm not like losing it here. All right, Justin sounds bored. Justin is probably actually distracted, knots and stitches. Because he normally does a lot of work. Yeah. He normally does a lot of work during my stream because he doesn't have to police me. So he's probably trying to get stuff done. And then we'll do a giveaway. So the answer is really UV resistant. The reason is that we don't use standard artist pigments. We actually use industrial pigments. And by industrial pigments, I mean the colorants that are typically used for things like buildings, railings, walls, stuff like that. We use those pigments. They actually simplify mixing quite a bit, and the great thing about them is they can still be high quality, and they also are really UV resistant because they need to be out on a house, or they need to be, on a railing or somewhere that sun is going to hit. And so a lot of the industrial pigments are extremely, like some of the top of the line, UV resistant. So even our magenta is traditionally the most fugitive, as they call it, fugitive pigment. When somebody says a pigment is fugitive, that means it fades very quickly under UV. So even our magentas and yellows are fairly stellar when it comes to UV. They still have a lower rating than like the earth pigments, black and white, but they are a lot stronger than a typical UV magenta. Especially when you get to inks, dyes are historically just ridiculously fugitive. But so inks, if you have traditional inks, those will be very UV sensitive. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter so much, right? As far as I say, yeah, if we were doing new labels, Ed wants to do new labels, Twisted Oma, and these would be pre-printed. They would not be heat sensitive. We want to go back to nicer labels. It's just been, you got to factor in the cost, you got to factor in the storage because you're storing so many dang labels. So stuff like that. Hey, Glenn. Yep, you do get blues and shadows. You betcha, Glenn. I can see it even looking. Well, actually, it's overcast today, so today it's gray. But yeah, cool. I'm glad you looked it up. Let's see. Oh yeah. You can get some bad reactions. Yes, I think Magenta is totally acting up because she wants to go back to her home planet. And can you blame her? But anyway, let's not sing the time warp again. So let's see here. Yeah, so the answer is very, don't worry about the UV. If it's like in a case, I think, plus remember that normal glass blocks percentage of UV. So like David and I have our really fancy minis in a case that regularly gets afternoon sun. And it makes me nervous, but at the same time, I know that it is likely just never going to really matter. Because you've got the layer of glass from the window, the layer of glass from the case, and then you've got probably pretty UV resistant paint. So you're going to be okay. So we're crossing our fingers anyway on that one, right? But we have yet to see a fade, and so we should be okay. Alrighty, it's just a jump to the left. Yes, it is. Probably not painting cricks. The thing about our labels is that we actually put codes on them for production batches, so we need to have that label in-house so that we can do that. things like that. So if you want to print your own label, I mean, you can always just get a sticker that's the right size and print full color labels. You'd have to like do the layout, but you could do it. Nothing preventing you except a little bit of hard work and time. All right. But yeah, well, Planer has it right too. You want to ask Ed about that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, SKU codes, but there's also usually a code for when the batch was produced, you know, like so we can identify different batches if we have a problem. That's important. Alrighty, let's see here. Liners. Pendrake asked this question. It was actually answered on the Discord. Is how many liners are there? 9, 6, what? You know, essentially there used to be 9, there used to be 6, which was red, green, violet, and gray, brown, and dang it, I just like lost it. Gray, brown, and blue. And then the red, green, and violet got canceled. But because the red is so good for shading red hair and the green is a really good black green, I brought them back along with Sepia liner in Kickstarter. So altogether, there have been 7 total liners in existence ever, and only violet is currently out of print. So that is the liner question. Who started the 3-letter acronym syndrome among mini painters, Pendrake? It isn't even. It's totally among humans. Mini painters, our incidence of 3-letter acronyms is no worse than everybody else's incidence of 3-letter acronyms. So it's humanity. It's not us. Just because we have OSL, NMM, and TMM doesn't mean that the rest of humanity doesn't have even more 3-letter acronyms scattered around in the world. So I think Patient Zero was some human somewhere when acronyms were first figured out before they even had a name for it. All right. Somebody asked, what's FDM? That was answered on the Reaper Discord, type of filament for 3D printers. And we'll hear that probably more and more as more and more of you get 3D printers. Yeah, Lebrowski, I mean, look up, you know, how much UV actually gets through glass. If you have them in a glass case, if you got a couple layers of glass, you're probably all right. TLAs, yeah. Somebody asked about FDM, not TLA. So, yeah, exactly. You guys. 3-letter acronyms, yes. It's silly. Hold on, let me see my next question. I lost it. I've been trying to do both. Oh, yeah, D. Clearman, of course, has to ask, what models are in the Ann Forster Hall of Fame? Well, all right. Most of them I still own, because if I ever do anything that I really think is a landmark model for me, I keep it. So I own Soldier, and I own Sacrifice, and I own Mr. Grumpy, and even though a lot of people don't think Mr. Grumpy is as good as Sacrifice, I actually disagree, because I think that Mr. Grumpy has some skin tone texture and metal texture and just some really good stuff on him that was the first time I ever did it. I tend to keep, if you're going to keep any model for yourself, like if you're in my game, and that means that you sell a lot of what you do, it's keep a model if it's a real landmark for you. I kept my first ever Golden Demon winner. I still own him. Nisus is up in the case right near me, actually. And even though I can do much better than him now, it still like technically would be Ann Forster Hall of Fame, because it was first Golden Demon National Award winner. Soldier, obviously I did at ReaperCon. He is my first 12-inch statue done to a high standard. Sacrifice is my crystal brush, made the photo cut model. My first crystal brush entry, and definitely the finest freehand I'd ever done to that point. Let me see here. The Julie Dragons wouldn't be in there. I would honestly say of the Reaper models, there were 2, and one of them actually isn't even in the gallery anymore, because it was my first time I did OSL. But the model was canceled, so I don't think it's still in the Reaper gallery. I looked for it the other day and couldn't find it. The other one, though, is the Master Series miniature. That's the cowgirl with the Queen of Hearts on the chaps. That was the first time I tried that. I really liked how she turned out in general. I think she's up there. But a lot of what I do for Reaper, remember guys, it's doing it fast, right? It's not, I don't get as much time to spend on it as I would like ever. And so a lot of the Reaper models aren't really in my personal Hall of Fame. Like maybe the first model I painted for Reaper, which would have been Marcus Gideon, Undead Hunter for the Templars. He might be in there. Christiana, some of those Templar models I actually did a really nice job on. But usually for me to get in the Hall of Fame, it has to be something I've done something new on, or something I've painted just to a really high level that I'm very happy with. So yeah, let me see. Okay, people's talking about UVs. Good. We like science. It's good.
I think it's about that time, man.
Is it about that time? Awesome. Fantastic. All right. Let us everybody hashtag free if
Real
you haven't.
quick,
Yeah.
Hashtag free, yeah.
Hashtag free if you haven't hashtag freed. It's that time again. Yes, it is. Free stuff. Do we need to re-enter, Justin? We probably do,
Nope.
right?
Nope. No,
No?
it's the same people.
Oh, okay. So you keep the grouping from your previous one. You just hit the button again. Yep. Okay, well that works.
Yes.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, if you weren't in here earlier, we're doing 3 total giveaways. This is our second one. We're doing purple things. So I've got 6 purple paints picked out, and the giant purple mystic portal, and the purple translucent tentacles, and Shadowhound, because I love purple and the world should be purple, and so that is my first ever giveaway on my show.
All right. And in this case, don't forget that we'll go ahead and type, because I figured this would be a little easier. Type !claim whenever you hear your name. That way it actually generates in the system, and in case there's a lot of chat moving, we can see it easier.
Yes. And Major
for someone to be mistaken as not being here when they are.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, !claim if you get picked. Major Ursa, I've been painting. I started painting when I was 9. And the gray hair tells you that I'm not 9 anymore. 9 is when I dipped my first plastic snakes from a board game into a bottle of Tester's enamel. And then my parents got me one of the old Dungeon Adventurers box sets from Grenadier. That was my first actual miniatures that I owned. And after that, I futz around with it until I got to college. When I started working at a game store, and they were like, oh, you paint miniatures? You need to play Warhammer with us. And the rest is history. Because that was when I started looking at like things like White Dwarf Magazine and like the Gen Con painting competition, and started really trying to get better. Because you can sit and paint forever at a certain level, but if you never try to get better, there's just a place you'll ceiling. It's when you really start studying painting and you start trying to improve yourself that you see real improvement. So I would say I've been professionally painting, as far as painting for money, since 95, so about 25 years. That's when I started first selling my work, was in 1995. I was putting my stuff on consignment at the game store and doing some commissions. Alrighty. Yeah. All right. Did you pick it? Did you pick it?
Our drawn second one. Are you ready?
All right. Drum roll, please.
Miss Ann?
Yeah, I'm ready. Did he lose me?
Oh, now I can hear you again.
All right.
I think it's good.
Yeah, go ahead, rock it.
All right, our second winner is, drum roll, crissair.
Oh, awesome. Crissair, yay! Crissair, type an X... Oh.
Yep, type !claim.
Yep.
You beat me to it.
Yep, type !claim. We lost it. Crissair, you won. So Crissair, you should totally, like, say, wee! And then you should type !claim. Otherwise, we have to, like, give away your stuff to somebody else. There he is! Yay! There you are, Crissair. I knew you were here. Super. Man, it froze up. Apparently the stream was so excited about our second giveaway, it froze up. Yes, congrats.
Yeah, we should be back. There we go.
Yay. Stream crashes, commercial delivered flawlessly, Bill Roberts said. Yep, that's Twitch.
Yeah. Welcome to Twitch. Yeah.
So true. It's funny because it's true. The other winner was at the beginning of the thing. And I forgot already because I'm a bad person. But The other winner was back at the beginning of the stream, so you shouldn't have missed it. Crissair was the only one for this one. And then we'll do one more at the end, guys. We're going to do one more at the end. Thank you. You like purple. Good. Excellent. I like purple too. Alrighty.
Yeah. Our last giveaway will be right before we send you guys off on a raid. So.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's see here. Margaret asked, can you go over how to pin something? Tools, materials, do you use paper clips, lining things up? I did that yesterday, so if y'all go to the VOD or the YouTube video from yesterday, it's the pack turtle, number 3, I think, and pinning. I do the first part of the stream there is all about pinning. It's all about lining stuff up. It does give you some safety recommendations about what sort of clippers not to use with your paper clips. So it is important. Do watch it. I just knew it would take 30 minutes to go over it, so I decided to do it on the stream instead of in the AMA. All right. Oh, it was Crissair who won, Painting Cricks. Awesome. Add an eye patch to the last giveaway since it's right before the raid. That's funny. All right, so yes, pinning, go yesterday. Okay, Iggy. You know what, Iggy? For the lava and magma effect, I'm going to do it right at the end because that's going to actually be a painted example. So let's skip over Iggy just for the moment. Don't worry, we'll be back. Xandercleese, how do you deal with seriously melted faces on figures? Linked to that, best suggestion for dealing with weird, inconsistent, unwanted textures. All right, so my first answer is always get a new one. If you have a melted face on a figure, that's like a miscast. So you should contact Reaper, say, hey, this dude has a melted face. Can I get a new one? If, unfortunately, the slightly melted face is not too bad and is just a feature, then your next option is to paint over it with a bit of paint plastic surgery. So to suggest the details with paint that might not be there in the cast, or to make them clearer. A lot of board game miniatures are like this, where they're in that kind of not so good plastic, and you kind of have to, maybe shade and highlight a little bit extra to make all of their details stand out, because they're a little muddy. And then the last resort is actual sculpting. But unless I really love the model, I'm usually not even going to get there. I'm usually going to just toss a miniature or give it away to some little kid at Paint Club or whatever. So that actually goes into this too. Black Wolf is pretty much fur texture is hard, but that you should put that question into the Reaper Discord for the AMA for the next one, and I'll actually show you guys how to sculpt fur texture. But I don't have time for this one. So if you aren't on the Reaper Discord, Black Wolf, get on the Reaper Discord, go to the AMA channel, and type in that awesome fur texture question. I can show you guys how to paint it, and I can show you guys how to sculpt it for the next one. I would love to do that too, so please do put it in there. If he doesn't put it in there, guys, you guys put it in there, okay? All right. Let's see. Oh, curry is done, so you're out. Bye, Super Sarah. Enjoy your curry. I love curry. Alrighty. So yeah, sculpting is always the last resort for me. I did get a model from Reaper yesterday that does have an issue, so I'm gonna pop that in here. Hold on. And talk to you guys how I will probably address it. And it is a melted or kind of globular texture. So let's go to Minicam for the first time. And I'll take my questions off. I actually do write down all your questions, and then I kind of make notes on them, by the way. So I actually care about you guys so much, see? All right, so Sphinx. We all love this model, right? One of Julie's best models. Fantastic model, but here, let me get her in focus. But we definitely have a problem on this model. Sadly, at least on my copy of it, and that is that we've got a bit of melted goo right here. I can tell that it's probably like an oblong and that the scales are supposed to go down, but you can see how the texture is kind of melted away here. Let me get really close and try to put this in super focus. There we go. So, see, like I've got texture on this side, but see how it's just kind of melted and not really there back down here. I can kind of see where it should go, but it's really melted, and there's a mold line through it too. So my first option, because I do really love this figure, but I'm really sad about that, and there's a little bit too, the mold line has disrupted this texture, but it's not nearly as bad down here. So the first thing I probably do is shave that mold line off really lightly, and then it's really a toss-up. I can see some of the texture from the little feathers here. Some of the texture is kind of there. So this is where you make the judgment call of, do I just do this with paint? And for me, the answer might be yes, depending on how industrious I'm feeling. If I'm feeling really inspired and there are other places that I need to gap fill on this model with green stuff, then I may just whip out the green and do all the green at once. Like I could fill in the gap here, and I could, maybe do some texture here, fill in this little gap on the wing, where you can see that little line right there. So I could do a couple of things all at once with there's definitely a gap over here by the arm, so that needs help right there. So there is other gap filling I could do. So I might actually do that with green stuff. If this model did not have any other green stuff or gap filling on it, and I didn't have anything else to do with green, I can see just enough to probably suggest this texture. I would just freehand it on probably, because with anything like this where it's probably going to be jewelry, right? It's going to be metal. I'm going to have really dark lines between all of these little details. What that means is it makes it very easy to just suggest this stuff with paint, because you're going to use your dark lines. You can just draw it on. And then paint it as if it were actually sculpted. And it will probably, since it is a small area, it will probably be enough of an illusion to carry it for you. So that's kind of how I would do it. And first, this mold line is really annoying me. And when you do shave the mold line off, of course, you've got to be really careful. Use like the tip of your knife. Kind of try to take it off as much as you can. If I can't get all of the mold line off because it isn't an awkward place, that's another time I'm going to be reaching for green stuff instead of paint. Because if I cannot remove all the mold line, I'm going to have to sculpt over it anyway. Then I may as well just take my green stuff and sculpt in the rest of these feathers when I'm doing that mold line correction. So it really is all kind of you don't want to get out the sculpting stuff if you don't have to. But the other thing is, if this was a model that I decided to put in for competition, or I'm doing it for a very high-end commission, then I'm definitely going to go the extra mile, use green stuff, make it look good. So all of these are questions that you want to ask yourself when you're contemplating what you're going to do. See, this mold line is really actually very difficult to remove. So I will probably end up doing green stuff, to get this to work. Because I don't want to accidentally remove other texture. I want to get in there and make it look good. So I'll probably end up green stuffing this. And if you're going to do feather texture this fine, you want something like a piece of rounded brass rod so that you can just kind of go boop, boop, boop and dab little feathers in there. It's actually a pretty easy texture to do those little tiny feathers. Like, it really is just a boop, 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 and flatten out little bits of green stuff. So it's not that hard. So that is what I would do. But the first thing, if you get a model that's kind of melty, like, do try to contact Reaper and see if there is a better cast. See if that maybe you just got a miscast one. It happens, even with plastics. So let me put my my Sphinxie back together. She's my little mascot sitting on top of my painting desk right now until I have the time to green stuff her. So Julie did a great job with this miniature. She's fantastic. If you don't have one, get one. Maybe we'll use her for a stream at some point. Alrighty, so there we are. And let me see if I've got anything. Okay, let me go back to Facecam for a second. There I am. Awesome. All right, we are getting to the end of our questions, which is great because I have a couple of things that I have to, that I want to actually demo for you guys. Jedi Jared, you've got a question about how do you prevent the thickness of metallics from clogging up details when you're painting with metallics for true metallic metals when you're doing shading and highlighting. I'm actually going to, I think, paint an example of that too, so we're going to pass over that for a second and deal with some of the other stuff, and then we'll go back to it. Just like with the magma. I have not forgotten about the lava question, Iggy. All right. Pendrake asks, have I ever painted with implements other than brushes? And he, on the Discord, he actually showed a picture of a very nice model painted with toothpicks. You can do it. You can paint with anything. I mean, look at all the modern artists out there painting with all sorts of different materials. I mean, a lot of us will do that just for specialty causes, right? We'll paint with sponges if we need randomized texture. We'll do things like that. So, I mean, you certainly can. There's nothing saying you can't, but I haven't. And the reason that I haven't is that I feel like if I'm switching to away from brushes, I better have a darn good reason for why I want to do that. Otherwise, I'm just handicapping myself because I'm good enough with a brush that I can do anything I want with it. So I don't, unless I'm just trying to make it harder for myself, I don't see a reason to like reach for a toothpick. I never even did toothpicks with, use toothpicks for eyeballs like so many people did. And the reason was that I guess because I grew up working with paint, like I grew up, I was an artsy kid from a very early age, and my parents definitely supplied us with a lot of art supplies when me and my brother were growing up. So I already knew how to use a brush, and I could already tell that a toothpick wasn't going to give me, wasn't going to allow the paint to come off of it as easily as a brush. So I never went that way for that reason. So yeah, I haven't. I'm boring that way. So, and I haven't really been tempted because I love brushes. I love this. I love that new brush feel. So I'm in love with brushes. I would be more likely to experiment with different shapes of brushes than I would be with different brushing type mediums. Let me see. Just doing it. Hey there, Strange. Good to see you. This is our party. It's our AMA and giveaway. Hey, no problem, Jedi Jaren. Yeah, brushes are better. Yes, I agree, Alpha. I never understood a toothpick thing either, but then, like I said, I grew up using paint on brushes and understanding that it came off of the brush easily and it did not come off of the toothpick easily. All right, Sarduki, how do you take advantage of red-green complementary without getting the Christmas effect? I've actually talked about this in a PDF on my Patreon, so if you're on there, go back and look at the, towards the beginning of 2019, I did a Dragon Red and Dragon Green PDF for the $5 tier. Otherwise, the short answer is you make them, you take one light and the other dark, or you keep one at medium and take the other light or dark. So you essentially just don't use the middle green and middle red combo. One great combo for this is actually using a dark green and a pink. Those colors can look fantastic together. You still get the complementary effect, and you're not worrying about the Christmas. The other way is to minimize one. Paint a model mostly in greens, and then just use your red as a very small accent color. And because the red isn't a primary principal color, you're probably going to avoid Christmas. The other way you can do it is, obviously you can go the opposite way. You can go with a darker red and a lighter green. Things like that. You can change it up. You can mute out the colors to make them a little bit more gray. So if you make them a little softer and less bright, you avoid Christmas typically. Another great way to do it is to go with a brownish red instead of a pure red, and maybe do reddish leather with your dark green ranger, for example, and that is another way you can use those two colors together. So really the answer is just add different things to your red and green so that they are not those primary red, secondary green, bright, standard Christmas colors. Just mix it up a little bit. All you need is a little and you can usually escape it. Let's see. Planer is coming with my dry rub recipe for steak. Planer, I am a purist. I believe in salt and pepper on steak, and that be enough. But the other night we did do an awesome pork tenderloin, where I like to use cumin and smoked paprika. I thought about adding a little oregano, but I'm always a little wary of herby spices on a dry rub on a grill because I think they're going to burn. But smoked paprika and cumin and salt and pepper is a really good mix for pork anyway. I also really love, this is if you're doing a pork loin with the fat cap on the top, but if you're doing a pork loin roast, I really love herbes de Provence with a brush of honey over the fat toward the end. That's awesome. Yeah, you could throw garlic on there too, Miss Imp. I was just going for something basic. But yes, you only eat beef. Yeah, I am a beef purist. I'm very, very salt and pepper. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. No, even with beef stew, I tend to go for like the beef bourguignon. So it's going to be salt and pepper and then red wine, and some garlic, but that's actual not spices. It's actually chopped up and tossed in. So yeah, I tend not to get too, if I want garlic on my steak, I'm more likely to saute some garlic and have it roasted and put it over the top, or make some garlic butter with that roasted garlic and put that over the top of the steak rather than using a dried spice for that. There are just some things in life that I think are better fresh, and garlic is one of them. As like my eyes light up at the mention of wine. I don't even get to drink it very much anymore. My guts don't like it. But I can drink a little bit here and there. So when David and I go out for fancy restaurants, I get to have some. And sometimes at home, just a little. But yeah.
Is there, out of curiosity, is there gluten in wine?
No, I actually have a reaction to alcohol as well. Once you
Okay.
once your intestines get upset about one thing, they tend to get upset about several things. It
Cascade
doesn't.
of other stuff.
Yeah, anything inflammatory, and alcohol is definitely a known inflammatory.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so and gluten also. So yeah, I generally avoid anything that is inflammatory, and I try to eat a very anti-inflammatory diet, so that I can still eat yummy things. Yeah. Gaining weight watching the stream. Time to paint lava. Okay. Somebody did ask also just at the very end about my favorite sushi roll. All of them. All the sushi rolls. Although actually, if I had to come down to like favorite, I'd have to say rainbow roll because I like all the different fish on top. So that would probably be a good go-to Anne's favorite sushi roll. All
I
right.
have
Yeah.
a particular love for basically any raw salmon in any way. I like the nigiri. Like I could just eat it like that until I was full.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
used to
love
get.
raw salmon.
Yeah, I used to get salmon sashimi for my for my Paint Club sushi. Let's do some stuff. Beer equals gluten juice. Yeah, we do have gluten-free beer. There's a pretty good gluten-removed beer. That is the only correct answer for sushi rolls. I agree, D. Clearman. I agree. All right, so let's get some black and brown out, and we're gonna do some lava. Why not? So lava is one of those things, and guess what? It's a natural thing. So yes, you should kind of look at photo references, but you should also remember that with photo references, lava is going to be photos. It's very hard to get a photo of it because it's luminous, right? So since it's glowing, it's very difficult to get a good picture. But this is a very good picture. So, as with all things natural, if you are seeking to get a better lava effect, look for a picture of lava. And even if it can't quite capture all of the like particularities, or even if the glow is a little bit too much, or maybe it's, the photo is a little overexposed, there's a lot of heat and it's bound to distort things. But you can at least get an idea. And what you want to know here is that where it's cooling, it's going to go dark brown. It's not going to go straight to black. A lot of people, it goes to black when it's cooled fully, and then it gets that black with a bit of gray ash and stuff. But when it is still live, it doesn't do that usually, unless it's a very large chunk of stone that's cooled off at the tip and is still molten at the bottom. So to get a really realistic lava, you actually want to go dark brown. And what I usually do is black and brown. And if I want it really dark in the middle, I might go to walnut. Having a good day, Socrates. It is the AMA, so I love the AMA. So if we're looking at this, then what I usually do first, if I'm doing to freehand, like if I'm not like sculpting actual cracked stone, if I'm sculpting cracked stone, what I'll do is I'll lay down here. I've got a sculpted lava base. Let's just say we have a sculpted lava base, because you're more likely to come across that. I will start with a very light yellow. As you can see on our picture, you definitely have some lightish yellow. Usually you want an orangish yellow. To me, that means candlelight yellow, which is 9408. So we start out by painting our entire base candlelight yellow. It is very similar to my sticky note. We'll just paint down a layer. We'll do a little bit of layer. We'll pretend we are painting a cracked stone base as lava, which is what most people who are asking about lava effects are dealing with. Sometimes you're also asking because you want to do it on an earth elemental, which is also cool. So we lay down our yellow. Next we probably want to, usually I would block in my stones after that, I think. So I would paint my black and brown, 9137. Again, because, Google is totally your friend. Whenever you want to paint something that looks natural, make sure you check what it actually looks like. Such a no-brainer yet. So many people walked up to me at Paint Club and went, how do I paint a wolf? And it's like, well, do you have a picture of a wolf? No? Well, you should get a picture of a wolf. So, it's just sometimes people don't think of that simple step. So let's make some jagged. Let's assume these rocks are sculpted. We're going to just block them in with our black and brown. Come on, stay live, lava. I'm going to just put a few drops down and then spread them out. Oh no, I almost went over the top. I almost went way over there. There we go. Quick, let's spread out this rock. And keep it away from its other rock. And you just want some jagged shapes, obviously. If you're trying to freehand it, then you're going to be doing it just like me. Alright, so we got some dark rocks here. Awesome. Fantastic. Good enough. So now what we see is we've got some definite orange and red. I would say orange. This is mostly a bright dark orange. And we happen to have a color made for this I have a couple of colors made for this. First of all, there's the magma colors in MSP, which is like magma red 922. Oh my gosh, I'm losing it. Magma red. Oh no, I've lost it, guys. I've lost it. 217. That's right. 217, 218, 219. I knew it would come to me. I just don't usually use this. I don't have it memorized. So there's magma red, and then there's lava orange and explosion orange. Those are great colors to use, but the other ones, as you can see from the name, volcanic orange. Hey, it's a reddish orange, just like that. And then sunrise orange. So you can use any of those reds and oranges in combo. I usually don't go into a real red. I usually use a very orange red. Like magma red would be as red as I go for lava, guys. Usually you do not see that cherry red. You usually see shades of orange and yellow with a reddish orange and then the brown of the rocks. So I don't actually go into like a clear red ever for lava. I think it actually makes it look wrong. Oh, nice. Yeah, DK is good. I've got their armor book. It helps with NMM and textures on armors and armor, swords, and axes. So here, now we've got some volcanic orange. So it's an orangey red. I'm going to thin it down a bit. I'm just putting it in the cap, as you can see. Why not, right? This is the ultimate tiny palette. Well, and then we're going to kind of look at this. And let's kind of study. Almost all the intersections are light. Come on, get big again. There we go. All right. And usually, and unfortunately, these have a lot of binder in them, so this, so I'm usually going to be putting in a little bit of orange around the edges, maybe, like so. Let me get closer. You can see how watery my paint got because sadly I got a bunch of binder in there. So it is not working as well as I wanted it to. But usually around the edges with orange. Yeah, that's interesting. The Pro Paint Metallics were sometimes built with a very different base grayscale, so I'm not sure what happened there. So yeah, so usually I'll put, and in some places where maybe the areas are closer together, I might block them in orange more. And maybe with some of these farther apart areas, I'll keep them yellow. And I'll usually put orange around the edge of the stones. Wherever your heat is greatest is where the lightest yellow is going to be. So if you really want these to pop, and this is where a lot of people will go up to white, and I don't have an opinion about that one way or another. You totally can. But let me grab a little bit of candlelight and a little bit of white, and we'll just put a lighter highlight, and then we'll do some orange on the rocks. So I'm mixing candlelight yellow and pure white together to get a brighter yellow, so I can put a little bit of an extra highlight at some of these bigger junctions. So see how that brighter color like totally picks that up and makes it glowy. So yeah, so that's, and if you want, you can go up to pure white there. I typically don't because I don't find that it's true in lava in pictures of it. So I don't tend to, but you can. It'll make it look even hotter. Then you can also, as you can see with these pictures, there are actually cracks in the rocks. See them? See that texture? you can do that. You could make, you know, take some of your orange and, you know, you could use either volcanic or, I'm going to shake this up a little bit more. Volcanic or sunrise. Make sure you got it nice and solid and shaken up so it has great coverage. You could start with white also on this and then go over it with orange. But let's try to do an orange. So you can make some cracks across the surface. You can kind of see that. Let me make it a little lighter. I'm going to mix some of my candlelight yellow into this orange. And we can make that a little bit lighter so you can see it. So like that. You can also take some of that orange and kind of do like, you remember if you look at your picture, you've got some speckledy patterns. See these block kind of stipply patterns? You could totally do that. Just grab some of your orange and just make some splotches on the stone. I'll bring this up closer to the camera in a second. So you want to make that crack, you want to do this, you want to do some stone splotches, you can just stipple, make some irregular patterns. Get some of that going on. Wow, this did not dry at all. This paint has a lot of binder stuck in it. So when you don't shake your paint up, guys, this is the goopy mess that you get. I must have just gotten a blob of binder in there. That's okay. We'll leave it like that. And we'll throw some volcanic orange on it. Make it work. There. All right, so that's a nice irregular lava effect. Now, let's take a look at what else we've got here. Yeah, that's about right. So what you're doing is, sadly, this is a very bright piece of sticky note. But, you know, you're just trying to get kind of the shapes that you see and make some interior bits on the rock show up a little brighter where it might be actually melting a little bit. And the other thing that I typically do is I will take my dark orange and I'll kind of make an edge, make it a little lighter around the edges because it's close to the molten stuff there. So when you look at this, you can see that a lot of these stones have a lot of orange around the edge. Sometimes you get a harder line where maybe the stone is a little thicker, but often you get a lot of orange there. So you can actually paint your orange a little bit, just a little bit around the edges here to make it look like it's really heated up. And then if you want to, you can take a little bit of a darker, like a black or a walnut, and darken up the center of some of your stones to make them look even darker. But yeah, so like that. Sorry for the goopy paint, everybody. Yeah, I mean, wet blending, I think glazing is a little bit better. I think starting with your yellow and then like thinning down some orange, because if you think about it, oranges are already transparent, right? Most of them don't have great coverage, so you can take advantage of that. Let me get zoomed out here. You can take advantage of that by just thinning them down a little bit and painting them just over your yellow here and there in areas where the lines are closer together, and then leave your yellow in areas where you really want it to pop, which is usually at the intersections or bigger gaps. And then that's really how you do it right there. And then just tune it until you think it looks right. So yeah. All right, metallics. Last thing. What are we at? Yeah, we're okay. I've got 10 minutes. So the thing about shaded metallics, actually, I wonder, Kiri's once again in the way of my example. I suppose I could whip out, the only other model I have with metallics on it right now is a Games Workshop model. Oops, but I guess I can talk about that. Hold on. We'll get Mr. Tyranid over here. He's all finished. All right, so let's talk. Let's temporarily talk about, something from a different miniatures company. Shh, don't tell Ed. But we're going to talk about specifically the metallics on it here. So the key, let's see, and focus. There. Alrighty. So that question, let me, where did I put my book? There it is. So the metallics question comes to us from Jedi Jared. All right, so the answer is don't use your metallic paint thick. I always put down a base coat of dark color underneath my metallics, and what that allows me to do is put down a very thin coat of them over that dark material, and it will make them look shiny, and it'll tend to give you better coverage overall. Then when I'm using shaded metallics, I usually, when I'm doing this, guys, I got, yeah, there you go, Threads of Fate. Yep. Sorry, Beef in the Hole. I got it. It's the only metallic thing I've got right here. So I'm gonna use it. But so what I'm doing is I'm starting with with a very light color over that dark base coat. I'm actually starting with a light silver for this dark dirty steel. And I'm putting that over a dark gray or black base coat so that it's very shiny. And then I'm actually putting like successive layers of washes or glazes over it to bring it down. But because those washes and glazes are such thin paint, they're not going to goop up detail at all. They're just going to color and bring down the darkness of my bright silver I started with. And I like doing it that way because you don't get any thick paint. I don't actually start with a layer of dark metallic typically, unless I'm going for a very, very dark metal. I tend to start with a very light layer of metallic and then darken it with washes and glazes. Because when you're dealing with a dirty, dark surface like this, it's not all going to be shiny. Wherever there's like a severe tarnish or, or dirt accumulation, you're not going to get that shininess. So then I come back. Yeah, it is Grim. Hold on. It is a Tyranid. He admits it. I'm a Tyranid, he says. He's actually from Gene Stealer Cult. There he is. He's finished. He's a commission. Rawr. They wanted him done like the box art, so I did. I did add some stuff to the base. But otherwise, yeah, so then you go back after you've got your metal really darkened down and dirtied up. Then you go back with your pale silver again, and that's when you do these little micro abrasions, the little dashes and dots, and creating these little shapes and accenting the cuts and the pitting in the metal. And again, now you're using a thinner metallic. You're thinning it a little bit, maybe 4:1. And with some of the Bones metallics, the silvers, you can even thin them more and they won't fall out of solution. Genetic thief, right? We can't stay Gene Stealer here. All right, whatever. But at any rate, so then you're thinning your metallic again, and you're just bringing out these little details with the shinies. And so you don't, because you're starting with a fairly, like, just one coat of metallic over a dark base coat, and then you're using thinned paint applications from there on, you never glob up detail. Yeah, right around there, 4:1. No, 4:1 paint to water. It's always never thin any paint 4:1 with water. Like 1 drop paint, 4 drops of water, it'll die. The only thing I think that probably might stand up to that is pure white, but even that, I think after 3, you might drop out of solution. No, the first number is always paint. So if I'm giving you a water heavy mix, I'm going to be 1 to 2, 1 to 3. I'm never gonna anything that's like 4:1, 5:1, 8:1. That's always paint to water. You can't thin metallics quite as much, most metallics, as much as you do regular paint because the flake is heavy, physically heavy. It's heavier than water. It has a higher, what do you call that? Darn it. David, volume. Heavy volume.
What?
What's the term for it? Rock is to water.
Oh, density.
Density. Thank you. My brain just went off. So yeah, rock, tiny rock flakes, mica, what a lot of companies use for their flakes, is definitely heavier than water. So when you thin it enough, when you thin the paint enough to get more watery than painty, essentially all that stuff sinks. So thank you, everybody. Yeah, specific gravity actually was what I was kind of looking for, but thanks, guys. So you don't want to generally thin metallics that much. Over the dark base coat, I'll pretty much use metallics straight out of the bottle. Just don't let them pool, right? Brush a nice thin layer on, even though it's the paint straight out of the bottle, you can still get a nice thin coat. And that should be the only thick coat you should put on. If you put on 2 coats, if you want a really solid coverage, you can do that. But I find that if I have a nice thin coat on straight out of the bottle, once I'm applying washes and stuff, I know I'm going to bring that coat up again anyway. So if it's a little patchy on my first coat, it won't matter because I'm using all these weathering tools. So, all right. There you go. Metallics. this model from that shall not be named company will now leave. Alrighty, folks. Let's get back to Facecam. I think that's everything.
You about ready for the last giveaway, Miss Ann?
Yeah, let's do our last giveaway. This is actually perfect. We're ending just about when we usually end, so fantastic. Get ready, everybody. Hashtag free. If you just came in, we're doing one last giveaway. It's purples. So it's the Mystic Portal, the big thing with the food lions, and then it's the Shadow Hound and Shadow Tentacle spell effect, and it's 6 bottles of purple paint of colors that I love.
All right, give people just a few more seconds here to get their hashtag free.
Yep, get your hashtag. No Drow Nipple Grim. I'm not on site. I can't make it, so I can't throw that in. Besides, it's a pink. It's not purple. All right.
Pay attention to Reaper Collins. He has no idea what he's doing.
Yes, Reaper Collins has no idea. This is true. Because the only other option is that he knows everything about what he's doing, and in that case, he's definitely evil. And we have to persist in thinking of Collins as a good entity. Because the opposite is just too scary.
All right. Well, I just drew it.
Alrighty.
And I have our winner. Remember, if you win, we'll give you just a minute or so to type !claim in the chat in order to get it.
Right. So when you come up. So listen close.
All right. Our winner is...
Drumroll.
KFritz88.
KFritz88? All right, KFritz, if you are out there in the chat, please type an !point followed by the word claim without a space. Come on, KFritz. There you are, KFritz! Yay! Congratulations. You get purple things.
Yes.
So next time... Yeah, yes, thank you. And shall I tell them, Justin, to... So you want to send an email to giveaways@reapermini.com with your screen name, and then exactly as it says, it's on the screen on Twitch, your email and your address, so we can send you things. Yay. And awesome. And
also...
go ahead, Justin.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, I was about to say, we're already several subs toward our next 60 sub goal. So when we hit another 60, we're going to do this again. It didn't take us long. Did it even take us a month, Justin, to get this?
No, it did not.
Yeah, so it did probably at least once a month we can do these big AMAs with giveaways, and at least 3 giveaways. And I'll try to make them juicy giveaways. I'll try to make them at least a few models and at least 6 paints. We just have to keep an eye on our bottom line because we have to figure shipping too. But we want to make them cool. So definitely tune in, sub when you can to the show. A sub for the show is a vote for the show, and it'll all add up toward our 60 subs, and then we can do another one of these because I had fun today. It was good. I hope you guys had fun too. Thank you, Dasso. A sub at tier 1, 8-month subs. Thank you. Yeah, you are welcome, Renru Studios. Alrighty. Sweet.
Real quick as a reminder, because we don't talk about this too often. Remember, don't forget to hit us with a follow if you want to see when we because we have multiple shows and one of a couple of different shows. And obviously follow if you can. It's free. We appreciate it. Turn on the little bell icon so it actually does notify you. Yes. Now, we can't guarantee that's always the case.
Yeah, Twitch is notorious about not notifying you. Not unnotifying notifications. But at least it might remind you every once in a while. And actually, do know that if you actually click through when Twitch reminds you that somebody went live, it has a higher chance of telling you the next time. I've noticed that with my streamers.
Correct. Collins is also correct. We will often say ReaperCon news on the channel.
Yes.
In fact, the channel will often get the word of mouth news stuff before it gets solidified in text and posted.
Yeah.
So if you kind of want the prototype information, that's exactly what our Twitch is for. That and learning.
Yes. Yeah, totally. Because Ed will totally say stuff on stream that everybody will wish he didn't say, and then we have to do it.
Yes. I mean, Sadie's already confirmed phones 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So.
Oh my God.
Outside of that, I think the other
fake news
we have for today are we have Reaper Land at 3 o'clock.
Yep.
And then tonight we have Reaper Errant.
Oh, it is.
Which will be at 6 o'clock. Yeah, sponsored by Nightheart Gaming.
Yeah, so you can come and watch our Reaper sculptors and painters playing D&D together, and much chaos will ensue.
Thank
Alrighty.
you, Bill Rob. And I'll take that as a personal compliment. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Justin was really the person who pushed for us to do Twitch, Bill Robinson. So he is the man who convinced everybody that we needed to do this. So.
In fairness, the convincing came partly. It was my idea to go to Twitch, but Collins helped me push it to Ed and
Oh,
Rob
right.
to
Yes.
kill it, to win them over. Collins was part of that conversation as a big part. So
Yes.
credit where credit is due.
Alrighty. Well then, credit to Collins. Don't say that very often. You don't want to give him a big
No,
head.
you don't. Take this time now.
Mark it on your calendar. All right, guys. This has been super fun. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did. Keep the awesome questions coming on the Annie MA channel, because remember, when we do another 60 subs, we'll do another one of these. Getting ready, limbering up. And I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. We are hoping to have a fantastic weekend here. So I love you all. Please please have a lovely day and a lovely relaxing weekend. All right. We will see you later. Bye-bye. Oh, and stick around for the raid. Who are we raiding, Justin?
Miniatures Den, I believe.
Oh, okay. So bop it back to Miniatures Den. Sounds good. No problem. You're welcome, everybody. You won more when only
Awesome.
30 people were watching. Yeah, Grim. Really easy, right? All right, guys. Have a good one. See you Monday. Don't forget to come back and watch. Bye.
Thank you very much. We'll see you guys later today.